Okay, so the first thing we need to do the setup is in our cPanel. Now your cPanels will vary depending on your host, but most of them will use cPanel, others will use their own custom ones, but the principle is still the same. So we need to create a blank database in our cPanel. So we go to create databases and we enter the name of the database, and you will notice that your host may well add a prefix to whatever name you choose. So you just need to make a note of that. That's the full name of the database. So then we create the database. Okay, database is created. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to add a user to the database. So we're going to use the same name again here as we use for the database, and once again the host will add the prefix in front of the username. So again, just bear that in mind. Then we need to select a password for the user. And we then create the user. Okay, the user has now been created, and then finally we need to add the user to the database. So we go down to add user to database, and we select the user, and we select the database, and we click add. We'll then be asked to set the privileges for that user. So we click all privileges and make changes. Okay, so the privileges have been set, so we've completed the database setup and we've added the user. So just make a note of the users and password and the database, because we'll need that later. That's it, we've now finished the first part of the setup. Okay, the next thing you need to do is in your package folder you will find a load of files and folders. So you need to go into a FTP client, something like FileZilla, and then browse to that folder, and you need to transfer all the files and folders from that folder, the project files folder, into your website folder where you're going to install the Fambook. Now it will take a little while to upload them all, as there's rather a lot of files. Okay, so once that's completed, you then browse to your website, and the page called setup.php. And you will come to the setup page, and here you need to enter your registration and setup code. Okay, so now we enter our registration code and click continue. Contact the licensing server just to confirm the license code. And then once successful, it will automatically continue. Okay, so then we go to continue. Now we need to set up the settings for the site. So we enter the site's URL. In this case we're using a local server, but you would normally type your web address in there, like www.wherever. And you must put the trailing slash on the end. Then the name of the site, which will appear in emails. and the email address that will send the emails for the site. Then the database location, and for most hosts that will be localhost, but just double check with your host, because it could be a IP address, it could be a URL type address, but in most cases it will be localhost. Then the database name, which we gave it earlier, and don't forget that prefix on the front, and the database username, which again, don't forget the prefix on the front, and the database password that we set. Oops, let's type that. Okay, then we click test connection, and if the connection was okay, then and the database name was okay, then we should get a success message. If you get an error message there, that means you've entered one of those pieces of information incorrectly, or it couldn't connect to the database. Okay, so then once we've clicked OK, we click Write File and Continue, and the system parameters file has now been written successfully. So we click Continue, and now all the database tables are being written and some data added to some of them. Now if any of these are red, that means there's an error, and you will need to either contact me or see if you can identify why the table couldn't be created. Okay, once that's completed, setup is complete. So you can then go to the login screen and log in as admin. So admin and the default password, which is in your pack, and log in, and we're successfully in. So then we go to the admin page and go to system settings, and we can just then finish off the settings. So we want to, in this case we're going to leave the self-registrations off. If you want to switch them on, you just click the button, and then the self-registrations will be switched on. Click it again and they'll be switched off. The email address is picked up from our settings that we're going to send the emails from. You can change the email header logo here by uploading a new file. That's the one that's the default one. Obviously it's not real size, but it needs to be 600 pixels wide and a JPEG. So you just browse to a new file and then upload it. The language for the message editor, and you can choose from any of the languages here, and the language for the spell checker. Not all languages are supported in the spell checker. And if you want to switch on the facility to reject throwaway email addresses, if a user enters a throwaway email address, then you can switch that on here, and then it will not allow them to use a throwaway email address, which there's several hundred different suppliers that supply throwaway email addresses, and it will that will search all those and refuse anybody that uses one of those email addresses. Okay, so that's the settings. You can change the settings for the system owner if you wish here too. But that's it. So we're now all set up and we're ready to go. So now we're going to look at how we would customize the pages to make the site our personal site. Okay, so let's have a look and see how easy it is to customize your Fambook site. So in Mobirise, you'll go to Sites, Import Mobirise Site, and then you'll go to your Package folder and the Project Files folder, and you'll see the project Mobirise. So you click on Open, your Fambook site in front of you. So obviously you can edit all this as you would normally do in Mobirise. You can add your new pages in a menu if you wish. So if you went to, say, the members home page, you could change your images, etc., as normal in Mobirise. Some pages you will need to edit the code in the code block. For example, here the Fambook because the Fambook logo is as an image, the code block has been opened. So to edit the Fambook block here, you would do that within the code editor. So you can change your text here, and you can change your image, and the image for the Fambook, and for the background image at the top here as well. So it's that simple. You just edit it in Mobirise as you normally would, and you can then make your site look however you want it to. You'll notice on the on some pages, for example on the Fambook page, most of it is in the code editor. Your block at the top for the access, the Fambook block there, and the actual code for the stream is all in that block there, and that's the security block at the bottom. So it's pretty easy to edit. I say most pages on your your news, offers, photos pages are all done within the normal blocks of Mobirise. And even on the post page here, you can add additional blocks if you wish. If you want a block to appear only if the user is logged in as part of the page, then you would insert the block between the security block there and the security block here. So for example, if you wanted a block to appear after the stream, you could add a block. Let's say we're going to add a subscribe block or something like that. Where are we? Got a subscribe block somewhere, haven't we? So I've seen one there somewhere. Say we were going to enter a follow us block, we could add that here. Now that block will appear only if the user is logged in and viewing the stream, because it's between the two security blocks. If we were to move that block to there. Whoops, no, I didn't quite move it. We moved it to there, so it's below the security block, then that will appear even if the user is not logged in. So that they will get the access to the page is denied block at the top, plus the follow us block at the bottom. But as I say, if you put it above the security block, either there, which is right at the top of the posts, or below the first security block. So let's see, there we go. There. Now it's right at the bottom of the stream. Okay, so remove that block out of the way. So then once you've done all your changes and whatever, you then publish your site to a local folder, and once you've finished publishing it, just upload those files with an FTP client to your host, but do not remove any of the files that are already there. The ones that you uploaded initially, they must stay as they are. Any files that have changed can be replaced, but do not remove any of the additional files that were uploaded initially. And that's it. Your site is now updated to the new version.